Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, I am so glad you're here. Welcome to the Alicia Branham Podcast. You say you want your business to grow. You want more revenue, better clients, a stronger team, less chaos, right? But if that were fully true, your business would already look different, right? Because growth isn't something that just happens to a business. It's something a leader allows. And more often than not, businesses don't stay stuck because they can't grow. They stay stuck at some level because they're designed not to grow. And that's the part no one talks about, right? Because on the surface, every leader says they want more. But when you really look at decisions, what gets prioritized, what gets delayed, what gets avoided, a completely different story starts to show up, right? Because growth requires change. And change requires loss. And that's where resistance lives, right? Every level of growth is going to cost you something, not just effort, something real. Control, familiarity, predictability, speed, even certain relationships. And most leaders don't actually want to give those things up. They don't. So they say they want growth, but they keep making decisions that protect what they have. And that's where the disconnect starts, right? There's a version of you that built this business, right? The one that knows everything, right? Is involved in everything, is needed in everything. And that version of you feels really valuable. It feels important. It feels safe. But the next level does not require that version of you, friends. And that's where things get uncomfortable, right? Because now growth isn't just about changing the business. It's about changing who you are inside of it. When I started Bran Marketing, I didn't imagine I could grow into what it is today. And in the beginning, because I only had a few people, I told myself I didn't need structure. I didn't need systems. I didn't need no processes. I didn't need no procedures. We didn't need meetings. We didn't need any communication rhythm at all, which is a couple of us, right? Because in my mind, we're a small team. But what I didn't realize was that I was building a business that was getting in its own way, right? That was going to stay small unless I made a shift. Because if I actually wanted to grow, I had to start leading differently. I had to start developing myself as a leader. So we put structure in place, even as a virtual company. We created connection intentionally. We implemented Teams chat. We started weekly meetings. We built out systems, processes, and procedures, right? Because the old version of me was too reactive, and I was operating based on where we were and not where we're going, right? And that does not create growth, right? That just keeps you where you are. A lot of leaders say they want to scale, but they're still operating out of control. They stay in decisions. They stay too involved. They hold on to everything because control feels efficient. It feels faster. It feels safer, right? But control and growth, they don't coexist. And sometimes that shows up in who you're trying to be for your clients. When I first started my business, I tried to be everybody's friend, right? I said yes to everything. Sound familiar? Any type of work, any type of client, any size budget, right? Because I believed it was my job to help everybody, right? Because I didn't want to realize that what I was building was a model for my business that just didn't work, right? We were allowing drop-in clients, people coming in for just a few hours, when our business is truly designed for deeper engagement. And it started to create stress for me, for my team, for how we delivered our work. And at some point, I had to make a really hard decision to stop allowing that inside of my business. We created structure instead. We had clear expectations. We defined boundaries. We created different ways to engage. And some people stayed, right? And some people didn't. And that's part of growth. And not everyone's going to come with you when you're growing in different directions, right? Growth requires elimination, not just adding more, but letting go of things, right? And this is where a lot of leaders hesitate because letting go is uncomfortable. It feels risky, but holding on is what's keeping you stuck, friends, right? Listen, another problem we need to talk about, and I think it's one of the biggest reasons businesses stop growing. Not that there's something technically wrong, right? Your business is working, your revenue's there, sure. Clients are there, the team's functioning. But over time, you know something? Good enough becomes the standard. And once that happens, growth just becomes optional at your place, right? And optional things, they don't get prioritized, do they? No. And most businesses They don't have a growth problem. They have a decision problem. They're avoiding the decisions they already know that need to be made. And I've experienced this myself. One of the hardest things in business is hiring the right people. About a year and a half ago, we were struggling to find talent, and I was determined to find someone locally, right? Bring them on, train them, develop them, right? That younger generation. And my operations manager, she had concerns from the get-go. But I asked her, hey, be patient. I believe this person could grow into that role. But a year went by, a full year of training, and it still wasn't working. And the mistake I made, besides not checking in sooner, was not the hire, it was the delay. I didn't act when I should have, right? I kept making excuses. And then we hit a moment where the business needed support immediately. A new client, new demand, more pressure. And she could not step in. Everything fell on my lead designer and me's shoulders, right? And that's when it became very clear to me that I waited too long to replace this person, and it cost us. It cost us capacity, it cost us energy, and it cost us momentum. And it showed me that I should not have been tolerating this at all, right? That didn't belong in the next version of my business. So I made the decision we weren't going to settle for that anymore. And we hired again. And this time, praise Jesus, this time, it was the right fit. And you can literally feel the difference in my businesses right now, in the work, in the team, everything. Because delaying a decision right now, I'm going to be honest with you, it does not protect your business. It's only going to cost you. I see it all the time. I speak firsthand, right? Because businesses that should be growing, but they're not, it's not because they can't, but because they won't make the decisions required. They're protecting what they've built, right? I get it. It's your baby. You're not stuck. Your business isn't broken, and it's not the market. You're just not making the decisions required to grow right now, right? And that's a hard truth, right? But it's also a powerful one because growth isn't about adding more. It's about becoming different, a different leader, a different decision maker, a different version of yourself. And until that happens, nothing else is going to happen for you. So if your business feels like it's stalled, I want you to ask yourself this. What am I holding on to that does not belong at this next level, right? Where am I choosing comfort over growth? And what decision have I been avoiding that I already know needs to be made? Because your business isn't waiting on better conditions. It's waiting on you to decide. Listen, I really want to thank you for listening to this episode today. And if it resonated with you, share this with another business owner who might need to hear it. And if you want more conversations about leadership, mindset, and building something meaningful, follow me and subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss the next episode. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Alicia Branham Podcast.